Hey traders, good to be back with you again. Jeffrey here from Strategic Day Traders, giving you a recap of this past week's results and a little review of what's coming up in the week ahead. As many of you know, this was one of the slowest weeks of the year, the last week in August. Most of, if not all of Europe is generally on holiday. In the U.S., it is the end of the summer vacation, and a lot of people are getting their families ready for school. Trading is very light, and we're going into the 3-day Labor Day holiday weekend. So no surprise that it was a relatively slow week. We did well, however. We still had a good week, and let's go ahead and go over the results. Before we get started, all the information provided here is for educational purposes only, not an offer or a recommendation to trade futures, stocks, options, or Forex. All of the advice on trading that I give you is to help you learn how to place your own trades, choose your entries, choose your targets, and choose your exits or stops. And everything that I suggest is purely for a guide to help you make and take the best trades that you can. So here are the results that we had this week. Let me move this over here. And as you can see, if those of you that are in the private group, you know that you receive my posts the day before we anticipate movement of these. Sometimes we get the movement within the first couple of hours. Sometimes it takes 6 to 12 hours. But I post everything in my private Telegram channel at between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Sunday night, on 8:25, going into Monday, as I alerted everyone, the markets were slow. Mondays are always the most difficult to analyze and project because we've had a couple of days of news over the weekend, anticipation of the news coming out for the week ahead. And basically these, and I'll show you the charts in a few moments, but these three trades I posted for you to look at and hopefully learn from. I did not take these trades. The market was slow, flat, and I'll show you how those charts panned out. So as I alerted, you certainly could have used these signals in order to learn from, possibly take in sim, but I made it clear that these were kind of weaker signals. However, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, our calls were good. Couple of tiny losers, minus 13 pips over here. And we had minus 19 over here, a couple of stop outs, a couple of break evens. And with such a quiet week ahead overall, we still had a good week with over 600 pips. That translates out into micro lots of 50, 60 bucks if you were trading the ultimate tiniest lot size you possibly could, just to learn from. But typical 1/10 or mini lot size, still over 500 bucks. Half of a lot size, which is typically what I would trade on a $50,000 account. You're doing well over 2,000 bucks for the week, adding everything together. Now let's go ahead and review what we're looking at. This is on MetaTrader. For those of you that were in the live session yesterday, we did a real deep dive on MetaTrader, how easy it is to be able to set up my entire strategy right on the chart. Very simple, just a few indicators. And many of you preferred and have messaged me that you'd rather be getting pointers and tips and training on MetaTrader because it is much easier to open a broker account or a prop firm account. So go ahead and look back at yesterday's live session. The recording is posted on the website under the members area, but I made it available to all under live sessions. So please take a look there for information about Forex prop firms, how you can trade easily for a small one-time startup fee. Unlike the futures prop firms, Forex prop firms do not charge monthly subscriptions. It's just a one-time charge, and you have as much time as you want to pass your challenge and move into a live account. But just as a review, what we're looking for is, after I do my analysis, get my bias, whether we are long or short. I am choosing entries, targets, and stops based on my parabolic price movement strategy. We would either enter right at market when the trade gets published or posted, which is typically approximately at 8 p.m. I personally watch the charts for an hour or two and try to get the pullbacks for best trade position if I see a great supplier demand zone or I see we're approaching an overbought and oversold condition. However, you certainly can just jump right in on market and set your stop loss and your first target based on my recommendations and see how that plays out for you. Okay, typically the stop loss is going to be right behind a supplier demand zone. So for example, if this short that we have posted over here, our entry was approximately at this level, let's say when I posted it, we might have been right between these two zones. We were looking for a pullback to right around here to enter. My stop loss would have been well behind this zone over here, and my first target would have been right down here at the other edge of the envelope. Now, depending on the timing, this is the early morning, right around US 8:30 time, with some news that was reported. You might still be in the trade and not hit your first target through the overnight. So you might actually pull your target down and pull your stop down and try to trail it. That's up to you. If you're physically at the chart and you're physically at your computer, feel free to manage your trade. The signals that I post in Telegram are ideal signals that you can set and forget until you get back to your desk, okay? First target is always the highest probability, and that recognizes the parabolic nature of the movement of Forex currency pairs from edge to edge of the envelope that we are using as our guide. And then, as we discussed yesterday, we had a little bit more of a discussion on advanced management, setting stop losses automatically, setting trailing automatically, and using expert advisors to manage or enter your trades. We'll get into more detail on that as we continue to do our weekly live training sessions. Now, for the week that we were looking at last week, you remember that Monday was a bank holiday in the UK. That was another factor why we kind of stayed away from our trades. But we were looking at U.S. Consumer confidence levels, unemployment claims, CPI, or rather manufacturing in the U.S. So we had a little bit of important news. This was one of our biggest news events, inflation news out of Europe and Canada. So we had some interesting news that we were following, and it certainly played out. I take into account the news events of the upcoming 12 to 24 hours, and we see it play out on our charts every single time. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual charts. Let's pull this down over here. Let's see, where am I? And here is our charts. So going into Monday, as I mentioned, and let's move that around a little bit. So on Sunday night, these three pairs were relatively flat, okay? Not enough confidence level to really jump into any of these trades. So as you look back, when we went ahead and put out the post right around this time, you can see we were just in a perfectly flat spot. Same thing on the Australian dollar, US dollar, flat as can be. So believe me, if I say be cautious with these trades, you can look at them if you like, then you know that I have a poor confidence level on them, and so I will stay out of the trades myself, okay? However, going into Tuesday, looking at Monday evening going into Tuesday, we had 4 calls. The Canadian yen was a nice long call. We got 46 pips out of it. We got right in over here at market, hit our first target in the overnight, and then our automatic runners. So 1, 2, 3, and we're out, okay? And as you can see, we grab this nice movement from edge to edge and get right out, bank our pips before we have this up and down throughout. And then we had a few short calls as well. In this case, we were stopped right out and exited in just a few pips. Let's see, barely, that's just about 13 pips. Not too much, so this one was a loser, but we were out with a very small loss. On the Euro CAD, we got our nice pullback for a small win and the runner right between the two edges of these supply and demand zones, okay? And as we see on the Australian dollar CAD, in this case, we put our entries in, got the pullback. In the overnight, we actually could have gotten a much better fill, okay? But you have to sacrifice that if you are trading in a semi-automated fashion like this. Be happy with the selections that you got. We were beautifully overbought. We went up, continued to move up. So for those of you that are in the UK or Europe or overseas, you could have been watching this for better fills. And we had that nice movement straight back down. Got right out at our target, and shortly afterwards for our runner when we crossed over the linear regression moving average in the New York session, okay? So as you can see, we got in here in the overnight, followed it down through London, and as soon as we hit New York, just before the reversal back up, we were out. Now, could you have gotten in for the reversal? That's a totally different ballgame. Going into the New York session during the day is a different set of analysis. We may move into early morning posts as well as we continue on, but we'll stick with what we have so far. Our track record's been great over the last couple of months now. We are in the green every single week. And now next day, let's see, we have Tuesday, so that's Tuesday going into Wednesday. We had 6 trades that I posted, 2 longs and 4 shorts on the pound dollar, right in at the entry price at market. We were, unfortunately, because this was a long, we got stopped out, and this continued to run all the way down. So you can see, stop loss is getting stopped out is part of the game in trading. You have to have a couple of losses from time to time, but you want to keep your losses on the small side. And in this case, this one was 19 pips. In the scheme of things, in our 600 or so pips, easy to tolerate. On the New Zealand US dollar, this looked kind of flat. We got in and barely got a couple pips, 6 or 7 pips before we got out. That was not one of our bigger winners, but we certainly didn't lose anything there. However, on the euro pound, we had a beautiful entry right at market, hit our first target, and then watched this come all the way down, okay? After I hit my first target, lately just moving to break even and waiting for the rest of the London session to play out because I'm up pretty early, gives me the opportunity to just monitor and take my runner after the London session has had a chance to really play out. And in this case, we had a nice move down before a reversal in New York. On the euro, New Zealand dollar, same thing. Entered right in over here at our target entry, hit our first target, and watched it come right down. Got out in the New York session in the morning before news was about to hit, but if you stayed in, you could have gotten double the number of pips as well, okay? So, and that's up to you. If you are at your computer and it's available for you to watch the charts, by all means, do a trailing stop loss with pips or price, and I recommend, because of the spread, especially if it's not one of the major pairs, do not do a stop loss, a trailing stop loss, any less than at least 2.5, 3.5, 4, 5 pips, 25, 35, 40, even 50 points. Otherwise, you'll get stopped right out, okay? We do have plenty of fluctuation. On the euro Swiss franc, We had our entry, hit our first target easily, boom, followed it all the way down. Nice trades all through the day. Okay, last one on this day, we had the dollar Swiss franc. We had a little bit of heat that we took over here, but came down, hit our target, break even took us out, so that was it. No runner on this one. And let's see, on the Wednesday going into Thursday, it was a weekday news-wise and currency-wise, kind of midweek doldrum. There was only one that I had any confidence level. That was the euro-dollar, but it played out nicely. We got in right at our target. There's our channel, and then wrote it right down, and we had about a fast, let's see, 50, 70 pips. Coming into the home stretch on Thursday going into Friday, we had one long and a few shorts. So on our long, we got right in on market, hit our first target easily, and a nice runner right up to the outside edge of the envelope, well after New York Open. So that was one that was easy to watch and get a little bit more until we watched it. Now, when I see that we're overbought, come back and circled right back up, I'm going to try to stay in for as long as I can when it's still in that overbought condition, and that's going to give me a few extra pips as we go along. Same thing on the euro US dollar. On the short, got in at our market and hit our target easily, but waited until through the overnight into the close to the New York Open to get our first target, and then stayed in through the morning to get our runner. Same thing with the other two. On the euro New Zealand dollar, it was in this case we got in, came right back out, and got out at break even, so really didn't make anything there. But on the final one, on the euro Australian dollar, we had our entry, hit our target, and right out for our runner early in the evening. And in this case, got out just in the at the right time before the market turned, and the New York session drew a nice reversal. So that is the rundown of all of the trades for the week. We had 3, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, about 18 calls during the week. Virtually all of them were winners, and the 1, 2 losers were small ones. So a good week on a very slow, relatively difficult week to trade because of the timing of the year. Now, after Monday's a U.S. bank holiday. The markets will be closed. Forex will be open, but because the New York session is closed and Monday is a holiday, we won't do any signals Sunday night. We will do our first on Monday going into the week. And to wrap the week up, let us take a look at the calendar. Okay, so as I said, Monday the markets are closed, bank holiday in the U.S. and in Canada. On Tuesday, we've got a little bit of inflation news out of Europe. We've got some manufacturing news for the U.S., and that's a high impact. And that is a tricky one because it's at 10 a.m., not at 8:30. So keep in mind, Tuesday has our later morning reports coming out. Okay, bank statement news, important to watch for on the Canadian interest rates, and some U.S. labor news. And then Thursday, we will certainly see some unemployment, interesting results, but these are not the biggest results, may not give us too much of an effect. However, on Friday, we're seeing unemployment results out of Canada and the unemployment rate out of the U.S. So that is what we're looking for. Not the heaviest week going into the first week of September, but we will start to see volumes pick up as traders are back in. So that's a wrap for this past week's results. Hope all of you had a chance to look at some of these charts, take some of these trades. By all means, you are free to shoot me an email when you get a chance. If you have any questions, always try to take a screenshot and put it in your email. When you take a look at this on our YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button and like them so we can get a little bit more traffic and build the group up a little bit more. And as I said, if you guys have any questions or have not joined yet, feel free to go to the website. Just click on join if you are ready to sign up. Anybody that is looking to sign and remembers receiving an email with some summer promotion and can't find it, just shoot me an email and I'll tell you what the discount code is, and we're happy to welcome you into the group. That's a wrap. We'll see you in the next one, and good trading.